Welcome back to the Black and Gold Report. Again, talking ladies soccer with head coach Lars Anderson. Coach, we talked about the Peach Belt a little bit. Of course, you have your perennial powers, Armstrong Atlantic, Columbus State. But this year we've seen the rise of Lander, North Georgia, as we'll talk about in a little while, has a very good record at this point. There's a lot of good teams in conference this year. Is it a fair assessment to say that the Peach Belt is up this year, do you think?
Well, I think, I've always bragged and said the Peach Belt's one of the, top Division II conferences in the country. We jokingly among us coaches call it the ACC of Division II. And I think you look at men's soccer, men's and women's basketball, baseball. I mean, the Peach Belt is just an outstanding conference, period, and it attracts good athletes. And I think we're no different in women's soccer. You look at the regional rankings of the top 10 teams, I think 7 are Peach Belt teams. So it certainly is a fantastic conference, and I use that in recruiting. I think, excellent athletes want to test themselves against the best, and that's what we have in the Peach Belt.
There's no gimmies in the conference.
I don't think so. There are absolutely no gimmies in the Peach Belt.
Well, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your Swedish connection. I know every year you have a couple of Swedish players on your team, and of course you have Swedish roots yourself. I mean, why do you look to Sweden for players? Is it just a language thing? Is it because you have connections in Sweden?
Well, first off, I want to make it very clear, this team is always going to be, the core of this team is always going to be built around North Carolina players. We do not have out-of-state waivers, so obviously anytime we go outside of North Carolina, it costs a lot of money to bring these players in, and North Carolina has outstanding women's soccer. So the core of this team is always going to be made up of North Carolina players, but obviously, I play the game in my native country of Sweden, and I'm reaching that age now where a lot of the guys I played with are now too old to play, and we're in the coaching ranks, so I have a lot of connections over there, and obviously we've had great success with some of the Swedish players that we've had in the past, and names like Faye Corbett, who was an all-conference, all-region player, Anna Svensson, who was an all-conference, all-region player, won the Golden Boot in the Peach Belt. We currently have, Fanny and Andrea on the team that are both returning all-conference players. So I think a healthy mix of a couple of Swedish kids and then North Carolina kids and a couple of out-of-state kids has been the secret to our success as we've made the national tournament, twice in the last 5 years. So I think we'll continue that. But again, the core is certainly always going to, 75% of this team is going to be North Carolina kids.
Well, this makes a nice segue to my next question. We're seeing more and more international players in the Peach Belt. I mean, some of these lineups, they have 7 or 8 starters who are from outside of the United States. First, why are we seeing so many more?
Well, I think soccer is the ultimate, game when it comes to globalization. I mean, soccer is the most popular sport in the world. It is played everywhere, and it is played at a high level all over the world. So your recruiting base is larger. If you coach, say, American football, I mean, obviously American football is focused on North America, the U.S. and Canada. Soccer is a sport where really recruiting base is it really truly is the entire world. And then we have the internet now. We have Twitter. We have Facebook. We have Skype. It has gotten easier to reach that recruiting base, and I think that's and the fact that obviously a lot of these international kids are very talented.
Well, let's talk about what's coming up next for the Lady Braves. Up next, you've got another road tilt. You travel to Murfreesboro on Tuesday, tomorrow, to take on a Chowan team that is 1-10 at this point. What do you know about the Lady Hawks, and what are you hoping to get from this game?
Kevin, I have to be honest with you. I really don't have a lot of scouting reports on Chowan at this point, but we will get some before we get on the bus and head out tomorrow. Obviously, this is a game that we hope can get us back in the win column, and then we have obviously a very big conference matchup coming up on Saturday against North Georgia.
Yep. Speaking of that game, you will be home for that game, if I remember correctly, right? So
that is correct.
It's an important home Peach Belt match against North Georgia. They're 10-2 right now overall, 3-2 in conference play. This is a game that certainly has postseason implications, without a doubt. So what do you need to do to beat the Lady Saints? And talk a little bit about their style of play.
Well, they come out in a 4-3-3. They have some very good forwards. They're very athletic. They're high-scoring, potent offense. I really enjoy coaching against that team. They have a great coaching staff. Chris is a good friend of mine. We've had the good fortune of, up until last year when we lost 1-0 in overtime, we had won 5 years in a row, 4 of those in overtime. overtime. 5 of the last 6 meetings have gone to overtime. It has just been a fantastic battle between two teams that really enjoy playing each other. If you enjoy good women's soccer, that's a good game to come to. It's the kind of challenge that I think our coaching staff gets excited about, our players get excited about, between two coaches that respect and like each other, and players who respect and appreciate each other's skills. So I think this will be a fantastic contest.
Oh, we're looking forward to it. Hopefully the students and everybody will come out and support the
sure
Lady
hope
Braves,
so.
and
I
we
sure hope
definitely
so.
want to take home a Peach Belt victory for you guys.
Absolutely.
Coach, I appreciate you joining us on the program, and that's all the time that we have for this week's edition of the Black and Gold Report. Until next week, go Braves.